Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Tonight, I have a special guest, Sherri Divband, and we are live. So hello, everybody who is here in the chat, and I'm sure we'll take some questions and be keeping an eye on the chat. For most of you, you probably already know who Sherri is, but I'll just read a real quick bio in case you are new to Sherri. Sherri is the founder of Aramis Creative Learning Center and the nonprofit, the Aramis Collective. Sherri is a best-selling author, public speaker, intuitive energy healer, spiritual advisor, and life coach, working with adults and children worldwide. The Aramis initiative strives to cultivate an alternative learning structure that enables families to streamline their children's education in an environment of freedom and choice for all learning styles. The Aramis team is raising funds to open the first in-person learning center in Florida. This will be the foundation for future Aramis learning centers across the nation and internationally. Hello, Sherri. Thank you so much for coming on. How are you doing?
Oh, hey, Lily. Thank you for having me on again. And it's always nice to be on your channel. And I'm doing great. Lots of really great things happening.
Yeah, stuff's picking up, isn't it?
It's moving almost like you're getting whiplash. Things are moving so quickly. Like when they said the year of the fire horse, they weren't joking.
Right out the gate. Right out the gate. Yeah. So some of the topics that we're going to be talking about today are, we wanted to talk about timelines, ascension symptoms, some of the things that Sherri's seeing right now, and the energies coming in. We wanted to talk a little bit about anxiety too. Sherri just did a whole month, I think, an anxiety month on your channel. I caught a bit of one of your streams and I found it very helpful. When you had Laura Van Tyne on and you guys were talking about some different techniques. Oh my gosh. I've never been like a big person with anxiety. I mean, it creeps up sometimes, but I feel like with the energies coming in, there's so much to integrate. It's been kind of flaring the anxiety up.
100%, and to be honest with you, I have never been one of those people that struggled with anxiety either. So I wasn't very well versed. And sadly, the reason that I am so well versed on anxiety now is because my daughter basically came into this world with anxiety. And she has debilitating anxiety at times, and she's been struggling with it since, probably 3-4 years old. So it's been an ongoing issue. And then, of course, I started to attract a lot of clients with children that had anxiety, and they were labeled autistic and neurodivergent and all sorts of labels. Let's just call them that. And I've become sort of an expert on it because I've coached so many families through it, because I've had to figure out ways to help my daughter adapt, because it's hard to be a parent and watch your child go through something that you're not familiar with. And I'm not saying I don't struggle with anxiety, and I'm not saying that at all. Everybody has it to some degree, but I've never experienced it to the length that she has, where, there are days that some of these children and adults, they won't go outside. They won't talk to anybody. It's debilitating. And I've never had that before. And I've noticed it's becoming such a big thing that I did dedicate January to Anxiety Awareness Month, because this is, again, my perspective and my opinion, but I believe it's an epidemic. It has become an epidemic, and I believe there are a lot of reasons for it, which we can get into. But it's really just an ambiguous term that means a lot of different things.
Yeah. Really great points. I'm just reading the chat here real quick, and we've got a bunch of people having experiences, sharing some experiences about that and feeling that as well. Before we jump into that, do you want to share the fundraiser that you have real quick that's coming up this weekend, just so we get people in the beginning of the show, let them know?
Yeah, thank you. We're doing a really big virtual fundraiser Friday night, April 3rd. And Lily's going to be a guest, and I have, I think, 12 or 13 guests, and Tyler is helping me co-host, thankfully, because I needed a buddy. And I was like, I need somebody to help me with this. I've done this type of fundraiser 3 times. I've never done it by myself. And I was like, please help me, because it's a lot. It's a lot to put it together. We have a schedule of guests coming on at certain times. We have lots of raffle prizes that my dear friends have donated, virtual sessions, organite pyramids, copper bracelets. I mean, all sorts of amazing raffle prizes. So I encourage everybody watching to tune in. It's Friday night from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to have a lot of great guests and great conversation. We have Dr. Alex Bloom, Laura Van Tyne, you, Abby Lynn, Sasha Stone, Michael Jaco. Who else do we have? Scott McKay. We have Jean-Charles Moyen. We have Isha. We have, I'm forgetting somebody probably important, I feel, about Jessica Jones, my buddy. So Aria, a lot of people are coming in, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And why are we doing this? It's to benefit my nonprofit, because this is the year of the fire horse, and it's taken me 5 years. But I am opening up the school, my first learning center this year in Palm Beach County, no matter what. I am not taking no for an answer anymore. So this is the first of 3 charity events that we are doing, but it's the only virtual one. I'm doing 2 more in April and May that are local to Palm Beach. So if anyone's interested in those, they're all on my website. So if you can come to those, please come to the in-person ones as well.
Awesome. Fantastic. And, you know, I get emotional just thinking about it because, well, the children are the future. They're important. But I had a dream. At some point in the last year, I had this very real dream that I went to Florida and you had your location open and your school open. And it makes me just want to cry like all over again. But it gets me super emotional because I just know that it's going to be so important. And I know that it's happening. So,
and you know what? I thank you. I want to thank everybody because I went public with this right in the middle of smack dab in the middle of COVID. And I announced that I was opening up Divinely Guided Children, which is what I initially had called this whole thing. And I got so much support from around the world that I literally was like on my knees, like in tears, like, oh my gosh, like, what have I started? What am I doing? Like, can I handle this? Like, I went through this like imposter syndrome of like, can I actually do this? And for those that are watching this that don't know my story, my daughter, her soul came to me before she was even born and said, we have a big job to do together. And I need your permission. I need your help. And unbeknownst to me, years later, I figured out with her anxiety and her proclaiming at 4 years old that I'm going to be a teacher. We had her room set up like a classroom. I mean, this girl, the highlight of her day was not the toy store. It was like Office Depot. She wanted to go and buy office supplies at 4, 5, 6 years old. So I was like, this is for her. This is her legacy. So what I'm doing, I'm very passionate about because number one, I made a promise to her. And number 2, I made a promise to the world. So everybody watching, all the podcasts I've done, all the radio shows, I made a commitment to help the children have an alternative platform to learn. And I'll be darned if I don't follow through with it. So I just want to say thank you to the people that have been with me almost from the beginning. And you and I have known each other since at least 2003. And so I think that's why you're getting emotional, because you've seen me speak about it. You've heard me talk about it. You know how hard I've worked, and like, we're finally getting there. And so it's just a beautiful sign, Lily, that it's happening because you feel it, right?
Yeah. Yep. I feel it in my heart. Oh, beautiful. Yeah. So I'm super excited for you. And yes, this will be on Sherri's channel and the link is in the video description, also in my video description. Yeah. So please join us for that. And there's also a donate button in the video description. But okay.
I just want to say really quickly, if you want to be part of the raffle prizes, the donation window for a raffle prize is between 7 p.m. that evening when we start until 7 p.m. the next day. So there's a 24-hour window. So anybody that donates within that period is like enrolled, or whatever the word is, to have a chance to be have their name pulled out of a raffle, drawn. Which my daughter is going to do. So she's really excited. And so it's completely random. And so if you want to be part of, getting a prize, that's the donation window. But of course you can donate out of the kindness of your heart and not want a prize at any time. But those are kind of the rules of winning the prizes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So wonderful. Cool. So moving back over to Ascension symptoms, so what are you seeing right now with the Ascension, with the energies, and some of the Ascension symptoms. Now, I wanted to touch on the timeline and dream stuff, but is there anything else that comes to mind that you're seeing?
Yeah, there are so many. I don't even know where to start, Lily, because I work. I don't even know who I'm going to see every day, because I just, people book sessions with me. I turn on the Zoom and I'm like, hey, how are you? So I don't know what I'm getting into every day, and who I'm going to talk to, or what part of the world they live in. So the common denominator every single day that I do sessions with people is, I'm dizzy. I'm forgetting. I feel like I'm in multiple places at the same time. I'm having heart palpitations. My crown chakra is tingling. There's so many symptoms that people are having the craziest, most vivid dreams they have ever had in their entire life. All the things that you and I have mentioned and talked about. But I want to talk real quickly about the reason why people are forgetting, because that is I think one of the biggest symptoms right now is forgetfulness. Why are we not remembering things? And I'm talking about, why are we not remembering what we did yesterday, or the conversation that we had with our partner or our friend or whoever the day before? And we're like, wait, what did I say? I don't remember saying. Like, literally, you don't even remember what you said, what you did, where you were, what you had for dinner. Why is that? The reason is because we are becoming so much more multidimensional at this time, meaning our consciousness is expanding, and we are evolving in tapping into so many different versions of ourselves in different timelines, which is where all these timeline bleed-throughs are occurring. So I could be tapping into a completely other version of myself in another timeline, doing something else, perhaps where an Aramis center is already open. And that version of me is coaching me on what I need to do right now in order to get started. For example, I mean, it's different for everybody. But what's happening is, while I'm doing that, my attention, just like a child is imagining in the back of the classroom. This was me. I never paid attention in school. I was in the back of the classroom, like in La La Land, just like with the fairies, and not paying attention. You don't hear, you have no idea what your teacher just said. So it's like similar in the sense that you're having dinner with your family, but you're somewhere else. And like, you're present enough to talk and eat and like be there in the moment, but you don't recall anything that you did or said, because your consciousness is tapped into someplace much higher. And everybody is experiencing that right now. It's crazy. And they're like, I can't remember anything, because we're just up in the clouds in these other dimensions. And it's like, we're not really anchored in the present, which can be bad in some cases, of course, but it's actually quite exciting, because historically the reason that we would do that is because we would dissociate. But this is actually for a positive reason, because we are becoming more multidimensional, activating and tapping into other aspects of ourselves, which is something we haven't as a collective been able to do for many generations, because of the indoctrination and the suppression and all the dark reasons. So the fact that we're capable of doing it now in a positive way is actually a really cool ascension symptom, because that lets us know, hey, we're evolving, right?
Yeah, I'm just laughing because Tyler knows he'll stop and he'll wait. Like, he's gotten a really good sensor now for when I'm like off in another world. And he'll wait. He'll wait, and he'll be like, okay, I'll wait until you're back in your body. And that kind of like draws me back. It's hilarious. Yeah, I would agree with that. And that makes perfect sense. So then you think we're kind of grounding that wisdom, even if we don't even know where we were or what kind of wisdom that is necessarily.
Yeah, great point. So, okay, that's what I was trying to get to, but my brain is like squirrel. So, we are not grounding into the third dimensional physicality anymore. Which is actually a positive thing. What we're doing is we're tapping, let's give the example of me communicating with this other version of myself in a timeline where Aramis already exists, where the new Earth's, vision of this initiative that I'm creating already exists. And so that version of me is coaching me on what I need to do next. Do I consciously recall it right now? Probably not. If I meditated, of course, I would be able to tap into it more. Anybody can. So we are, we're not necessarily recalling it in the moment, literally, but we are receiving downloads, we're receiving light codes, and then it comes through as epiphany. So for example, when Tyler's looking at you and talking to you and you're in another world and he's like, all right, I'll wait for you to come back. You may not come back in that moment with like a download, or maybe you do, and you're like, oh my God, I was just in another world. Let me tell you where I just went. Or you take time to integrate, and then, you'll have a sudden epiphany washing dishes later that evening or the next day, or on a hike, and then it just comes to you, and you're like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, and it's a full download. So a lot of people are experiencing that as well.
Yeah, that's a great point. So I told you about a dream I had the other day, and it was very strange, almost alarming at first because I had died in the dream. And then I actually kind of came back as like a ghost or a spirit and was talking to my brother and sister and stuff. And then I felt what it felt like to ascend out. And then Tyler showed up at the very end of the dream and said, "All right, it's time to go." And then I just shot awake. And when you like have those very vivid dreams and you shoot awake, it's a big deal. Like you're supposed to, something else was going on. You're supposed to remember that. But when I came back into my body, I realized it was like a death and rebirth. And I know you said a lot of your clients are kind of experiencing a death and rebirth right now phase as well. But also the experience I had of like ascending out, which I did like this, and a pillar of light came around me, and that's how I would ascend out. But I brought that energy back with me, and I had to lay in bed for a few hours, and I just felt my aura was massive, and there was a lot of integration, and that really helped me to realize we can be picking up so much upgrades, if you will, and expansion, that we really have to sit with it and integrate it, or it can just be kind of lost almost. Um, like I felt myself almost going back to the normal programming. 90% of your thoughts are the same every day, and you kind of get stuck in these autopilot programs. And then I was like, no, I'm not going to be upset about that, or I'm not going to stress about that. I'm going to
Hmm.
sit in this expanded level of awareness and kind of like retrain and integrate myself. Do you have any comments on that?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think the integration process is the most important part, because part of the 3D programming is that we go, go, go like hamsters on a wheel. That's what the whole, sheeple mentality is. They start you in the assembly line as children, indoctrinate you through school, and then you go to college, and then you get your 9 to 5, and then you come home, watch Netflix, and you have a beer, you go and party on the weekend, play some golf, whatever, and then you start the whole week over, and then and next thing you know, when you're ready to retire, you either have, some sort of dis-ease or no money, and it's just like that's your life. And that's how they wanted, because they're just looshing off of our suffering, our hard work, our dis-ease, our guilt, shame, whatever you might want to call, whatever the different things are. But right now we are integrating into this higher aspect of ourself, which is quite beautiful, but we need to take the time to slow down. And time is speeding up, which I don't think anybody in this chat or anyone watching this would disagree. Like, it's very clear that time is speeding up. It's even harder to get things done for me in one day than I used to, because I am a very hard worker. I'm very passionate, and I'm a workaholic. I'm constantly doing stuff, and I can't seem to get half of what I used to get done anymore. And I realized the time is just going by so much faster. And I had to like take this moment of, okay, Sherri, it's okay. Like, breathe for a second. You don't have to make, like, who's telling you you need to do all of these things today? I'm putting that pressure on myself. Nobody is standing behind me. I don't actually have a boss. I'm my own boss. I am putting these unrealistic expectations on myself. Even my husband's like, calm down. My kids, you have to say bro. My kids are like, bro, calm down. Like they talk to, I'm like, I'm your mom, not bro. But it's like we need to just like ground and stay in the present. Otherwise we get sick. And so we just saw each other. I went to Sedona for a retreat that I was doing with my dear friends, Laura and Abby. And we got to spend some time with you and Tyler. I didn't get to see Katie, but I got sick on the last day of that trip. I was sick for 2 weeks, and I still have a cough. I'm still getting over it. I was really sick for 2 weeks, but I think it was my body's way of saying, listen, all you do is work. You just came back from a work trip, and you need to get in bed and rest and detox and integrate. And if you don't, we're going to make you, lay on your ass and you're not going to have a choice. And that's what happened to me because I was still trying to work in bed. And then like my husband had to peel my laptop away from me, like just chill. But we're just like, the passion in us is there, but we have to take time to integrate. And so we need to rest. And the most important thing that is the least popular that I tell people is you have to be okay with spending time by yourself. I actually love being alone, but I'm an only child. I grew up alone. I never had a lot of friends. I was always the weirdo, and I was bullied and made fun of and pushed around, and animals were my friends. And so I'm used to being an only child. I'm used to being a loner. So I don't mind being by myself all day long, but people need to get comfortable being alone and getting lost in their thoughts instead of distracting themselves with Netflix or movies or talking to somebody else. Like we have to get comfortable with going within our own space and giving us the self-love and attention that we have been taught that to seek outwards validation. And that's not true. We have always been able to validate ourselves. We are our own validators, but we are programmed to believe that we need to receive validation outside of ourselves from pretty much everyone except for ourselves, our spouses, our siblings, our parents, our teachers, our mentors. But who's validating us from? How are we able to validate ourselves? And that's, I think, the biggest lesson people are learning right now. And it takes time to integrate that.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been feeling that as well, just really needing to take time to slow down. That's why the past 2 weeks, to help me integrate, as I was having a lot of bleed through from other timelines and some soul retrieval and stuff, I've been spending time with Sasquatch the last 2 weeks. I'm like, I'm going to Sasquatch La La Land for a little bit. I'm going to hang out with the trees, and like I just need to just be for a minute. Sasquatch teaches us that.
Can we talk real quick about Sasquatch? Because I had such a treat. So you and Tyler took us on a very special trip our last day, that was when I was starting to feel sick, but I was like, I'm gonna push through. And you guys, I don't know where it was, so you'll have to tell everybody where we went. It was like, excuse me, I still have this cough. It was like this long trek on these bumpy roads. Luckily, we had a Jeep, and it took like, I swear, 3 hours to get there, but it was probably half hour. Anyways, long story short, we got there and we went on this I don't want to call it a hike. We were walking around and we got to this like beautiful Sasquatch meadow. I swear I felt the energy, and it was the most peaceful, beautiful energy I've ever felt in my entire life. And I felt them everywhere. And I remember I found the footprint and we took a picture, and then I went off on my own. And you guys know me. I'm kind of a little baby and a wuss. I don't like to go off by myself in scary, like paranormal types of places, because I'm a little wuss. So the fact that I just like took off on my own, like at one point I heard Abby like, "Where'd Sherri go? Is she okay? Like, where is she?" I was just wandering through the woods by myself, and I was just with the Sasquatch, and I felt so much love, and it was amazing. And that was probably like the best day in like a long time. I'm talking in years. So that energy is so powerful over there.
Oh, yeah, and that was at Bradshaw Ranch. So that's a very famous, potent hotspot and portal. You can have all kinds of, it's like a smorgasbord there. And there's kind of different pockets of different energies too. But that Sasquatch meadow, it's like, in the desert, it can be really dry, but that meadow was like full of life. Yes. It was very green. Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty fantastic. The Sasquatch have been coming out a lot lately. I've been having a lot of experiences with them too. And then I don't know if you saw, there was Sasquatch on the news and all sorts of stuff. So it seems like they're coming out more to kind of communicate. And I think the wisdom from them really is enjoying the moment, being present in nature. And it's just a very positive, uplifting. Now there are other sorts of cryptids. I'm not talking about the bad ones. We're talking about we're not talking about them.
We have Jessica to talk about those, but the Sasquatch are coming through a lot of my children's sessions, and they are telling me that they are one of the guardians of this planet, and they are really here, and they're revealing themselves because we finally have raised our consciousness enough that they are approaching only the ones that are ready to receive their vibratory field. And so it's an honor to be able to be immersed in that, because anyone else could have walked through that meadow and not felt a thing. And I'm not saying we're better than anybody, not at all. I never say, like, I'm very humble about my approach. I'm just saying that I think they're really communicating with the ones that are ready, because they want us to honor this land and activate it, and they want us to know they're here, which is super cool.
Yeah, I'm sure more and more people will start having experiences, especially as this uptick in sightings and messages coming through. That's helping to seed the collective and helping to raise the frequency of everybody just through awareness.
Absolutely. I agree.
Mara mentions maybe the timelines are coming together. So we were talking about this a little bit. Timelines is always a fascinating topic. What do you got on timeline, Sherri?
How much time do we have? Gosh, I think I could just write a whole another book on just timelines.
That would be a great book.
I honestly, I've been talking about timelines before. I think timelines were popular to talk about. I even did a class like over 10 years ago on timeline healing and merging. And at that time, I didn't understand what the heck I was even doing. It was because I was receiving downloads from my higher consciousness explaining to me what was going on and what we needed to do. And it was at a time where I really wasn't fully understanding like what was coming through. I'm sure everyone experiences, you get a download and you're like, I don't know if I really understand this yet. So it's hard to share until you integrate it and figure it out fully. But I started this class called Timeline Healing and Merging, and I was teaching people to tap into these other versions of ourselves, because there are good timelines, and then there are those that are inorganic timelines that we have not consented to, where we're enslaved. Not we, but there are people that are enslaved, and a lot of negative things happen in other versions of the matrix, these inorganic timelines that pull and loose our energy. And so we are right now in the process of magnetizing almost the fragmentations, those like Humpty Dumpty that fell off the wall. A lot of us are experiencing crazy ascension symptoms right now, because like a magnet, as you ascend and do the work and go within and give yourself love, and you finally embrace the healing process and ground and open up yourself, and most importantly, you surrender, we are not realizing that we are magnetizing the fragments of our souls that have been essentially enslaved, and those timelines are collapsing. And so what happens is those versions of you heal and you reintegrate, and that sometimes causes us to get sick. Like I could have had an experience in Arizona where I overlapped a timeline where something happened to me negative, and I had to integrate that, and I came home and I was sick for 2 weeks, and now I'm feeling better than, aside from this lingering cough, I am like feeling like $1,000,000. I'm like, yes, I'm all like amped up and ready to go and energized, because I integrated something. So there are a lot of timelines collapsing that are the negative timelines, and then there are merging of timelines that are positive aspects of ourselves, and the wisdom is coming together. So all the versions of Lily that have ever existed, not ever, we got to, let's hone into just Earth for right now, but let's say all the wisdom that you have accumulated over your lifetimes. And actually, let's even bring in Andromeda and Lyra and other existences. It doesn't really matter. The wisdom of your soul is slowly integrating into our surface of our awareness and through our minds. And that's what's been hijacked this whole time. That's how this 3D low vibrational matrix has been thriving, is because they hijack the mind, which the mind is the processing center of the body, and it dictates everything else that happens. Our nervous system, our hormones, everything is dictated by the brain. And the brain is highly subjective to your thinking. And what we think is what our brain tells our body. And we are hijacked into thinking negative, atrocities, negative mindset, hypersexuality. You name it. You turn on any TV show or the news, and it's really just eliciting negative vibrations, negative emotions, negative feelings. And that's the negative loop cycle that we have been trapped in for so long. But now we are tapping out of that, and then it's opening up this beautiful window of opportunity to bring through our higher wisdom And now it's just shattering the matrix. I mean, we are literally dissolving timelines every single moment of every single day. Like, there's no words to describe it, because I don't think it's ever occurred before in this way before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the timeline collapsing, and that's just so interesting, like the echoes. So what's been going on in the Middle East has stirred some stuff up for me personally that I wasn't expecting. I've had some past life dreams, so maybe we can talk a little bit about dreams too. But dreams, very vivid dreams from past lifetimes. There was a name that came through this dream. I never heard of it before in my life. I looked it up, and it's like Persian, Pakistan, Arabic. And so it was from a past lifetime in that area. And another one, I had a dream recently where I was surrounded by Anunnaki, and I was a Pleiadian though. I was surrounded by like these Anunnaki giants, and they were not happy with me. And they were about to arrest me. And I woke up in a panic. Like, it was a memory. I was like, oh shit, I'm about to be arrested. And for days, I felt a handcuff on my arm. For days, my wrist hurt, and I had to like clear and heal that. So I feel like that was just a traumatic event happened in that lifetime that is very correlated with what's going on Earth now, because, the Anunnaki, whatever, we don't have to get into that, but that's a part of what, that's a part of who we are and what's happened on Earth. But like, I retrieved that soul fragment. So people might be experiencing physical symptoms even from some of this soul retrieval and some of those timelines collapsing and retrieving soul fragments. Like, you might be having aches and pains and all sorts of other things, just like you might have gotten sick because of something, a timeline healing for yourself. It's just mind-blowing, but it's becoming so visceral, I feel like.
It's undeniable, I think, actually, at this point. And I want to talk about Persia for a second, because I want to honor not only my family's ancestry, because my husband's side is Persian, my children are half Persian. Oh, wow. And I know that I have a lot of lives in ancient Persia, and it's very special to me. I mean, that's why I wear this necklace. I believe in Zoroastrianism, which is one of the first non-religions. It's really about unity, good thoughts, good deeds, good words. And I believe that the true Persians of this planet were of pure, intense, beautiful, enlightened spiritual beings that were very peaceful, very honorable. And I remember being alive during that period. I remember my daughter having a lifetime where her and my husband were brother and sister, and they were royalty. I wasn't in that life. And that's probably why they're beefing so much in this life, because they're still like competing with like with each other. But the point is, what's happening right now is huge. We are reclaiming the true Persian culture and civilization. The ancestors are celebrating right now. I know it looks really bad what's happening over there, but I will tell you, I'm a part of a huge Persian community as the extension of my husband's family, and they are in celebration, because they know after thousands and thousands of years, they're reclaiming their land that was taken from them. And we don't want to get into the Anunnaki and how and reptilians and how all of that occurred. There's lots of different versions of the story, but the point is that Lemuria we are reclaiming Lemuria, we are reclaiming Atlantis, we are reclaiming ancient Persia. So a lot of these things are aligning with ancient timelines that are in the present. That's why so many people are moving to Florida and the Caribbean and where I am, because we're activating Atlantis. And that's why a lot of people are so anchored into Hawaii. Why do you think Hawaii has been attacked so much? Because it's, the Stargates in Persia, which is Iran. Part of ancient Persia is just Iran, but it's so much bigger than that. And all these Stargates have been attacked by the powers that have been in control for so long, who no longer are, but are fighting, to maintain that control. So a lot of people are in fear mode, and they're really afraid. But this is actually a really positive move forward. But it's scary to a lot who don't understand what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, I feel like it's a really big healing is occurring, because why? Just like I said, I wasn't expecting what was going on over there to impact me so deeply, but I've had so many just experiences that I've really had to integrate coming to the surface from past lifetimes and things like that, but also just the present day. So thank you for tying all of that in with the ancient timelines as well. Like, it's just absolutely fascinating.
You know, there's so many ways we could go with this. Somebody said something about I'm living in Palm Beach. I don't know where they were before, but yeah, that's where I'm in Palm Beach. Well, I'm not in Palm Beach. I'm not a bajillionaire. I'm in West Palm Beach, but yeah, our first learning center is going to be here in Loxahatchee area, which is more of the country, but it's like 30 minutes from the beach. It's a beautiful area.
I've been feeling called to Florida, actually. Also, been really feeling called to Florida. I haven't been there since like my major awakening.
A lot of people are, because I'm telling you, the people who are holding the light codes and the ancient wisdom of Atlantis. And by the way, a lot of people don't know this, but Atlantis and Lemuria actually overlap. So I don't have any connection to Atlantis. I know that I never lived during the time of Atlantis. So why am I so connected to Florida? It's actually because Lemuria overlaps. And so there's Lemurian energy here. My husband is Atlantean. And so
I can see that.
That's why we're so opposite. We are literally as opposite can get. And my daughter is a little version of him, and they're like little twin souls. And then my boys and I are much more similar, and we're like have more of the Lemurian energy, but we're overlapping because again, the timelines overlap. It's just dimensional. It's just different dimensions, different eras of time, but we're activating and anchoring in the light and the ley lines. And so people who are being called to the south right now are here because their soul is being called here to be part of clearing the energy and doing the grid work and anchoring in light, which is probably why you were called to go to Arizona, because Arizona is another place that has been wildly attacked. That whole region, really, in the desert. California, I mean, I'm from California. That to me will always be my home. No matter how many traumas I endured there and my kidnapping, all of that, it's still to me my home because that is also Lemuria. And so it's a shit show right now, and I wouldn't go back there. But nevertheless, a lot of these places people are being guided to go because it's home. It's part of them.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't wait to go. I carry a lot of the, I know I've got a connection with the Lemuria too, but the Atlantis has come through much stronger for me. Leah says, come on down. She's in Florida also. You guys met, didn't you? That's my friend Leah.
Oh yeah. Hey Leah. Yeah, we did meet. She came to my house.
I love Leah. She's awesome. Yeah, I'll come down and visit you guys. I'm thinking about coming down for the summer solstice. Yes, the summer solstice.
Yeah, we talked about that. So you better tell me, because I'm gonna come and find and meet you guys where you are up in Daytona. I'll come find you there, or you guys can come down into Mar-a-Lago or something.
Yeah. So actually, well, I guess I can share it now. Barry Everson, if you guys know who he is, he's supposed to be setting up like a summer solstice type, like a beach meetup that would just be open to anybody to come. So that would be an event around the summer solstice. My birthday is June 18th, so it would be like the 8th, like I think the solstice is the 20th or 21st in Sarasota. So that's what we would be going down for. So I'll keep you guys posted once we get that finalized.
Yeah, that's only a couple hours for me, so I'm happy to go over there.
So I'm kind of curious about the Lemuria and the Atlantis. So I'm actually about to take a trip to Hawaii with Tyler and Journey to Truth podcast. They have their conference coming up in Hawaii. So that's very strongly connected to Lemuria, or as part of Lemuria. I just can't even. I don't even know how activating that's going to be. But I'm curious, Sherri, like what kind of things have you seen with Lemurian Atlantis coming up? Have you seen any of that in sessions coming up recently? How can we kind of retrieve some of that lost wisdom and integrate that?
That's a really great question. I would say greater than 75% of my clients are bringing back their Lemurian essence and or Atlantis. So almost every single day I have somebody connected to one or the other. And ancient Persia is coming up a lot lately, and I think it's having to do with this activation and this Stargate. Um, so I've become a little bit of an expert in those two eras of time only through the eyes and of my clients and what I've seen them go through in a lot of lifetimes. So there are a lot of people, and I don't mean to use the word a religious word because I'm not a religious person, but I can't think of another word to describe it. But a lot of people are kind of repenting for selling out. I'm trying to say it in the most professional, polite way because there's no judgment. I never judge, but there are a lot of people here right now who had lifetimes during Atlantis who were part of the ones that sold their people out because they were tempted through ego and through power and through the technology that came through that was offered by extraterrestrials that came through saying, here, I'll give you this, you give me that. And so we're at a point right now, we're at a very specific precipice. Look where we are with humanity right now. I'm just talking about Atlantis. We have all this AI, all this technology, and they sneakily brought it through very slowly over time. So we just got accustomed to it. But, I'm an 80s baby, so I'm going to be 45 this year. I didn't grow up with half of the technology that most people have. I had a beeper, okay? I had a beeper back in the day. That's how old I am. I don't feel old at all, but at heart, I don't feel that old. And so I had this beeper, and my mom's cordless phone was like, a box. Like that's how big they were. So, anyways, the technology has slowly crept in, and now we're at this precipice of like Atlantis, this temptation of, do we want these supercomputers? Do we want to relinquish control? Like we're moving towards transhumanism, which is a lot of what happened in Atlantis. Like, where does the ego stop and the spirituality? Where's the boundary there of sovereignty versus AI and taking over? And God, there's so much I could say. I don't want to monopolize the time, but it's important that a lot of the people that are here right now that are true Atlanteans you can tell the Atlanteans because they love technology and they are all about it. Like my husband wants every gadget that there is, and he's obsessed with technology and how everything works. And I'm like averse. I'm like, I don't want that in my house. That makes me nervous. I don't feel comfortable. And so you can always tell the Lemurians versus the Atlanteans. And then there are those that are both. So they're kind of like, I'm okay with either one. But the Atlanteans are coming here to either like repent or whatever the right word is for that, like to like their karma. They're here to help, so they're not making the same mistake. So maybe they're making good technology. They're advocating for stronger regulations, things like that, being more innovative, but in a more spiritual, safe, and holistic approach. Whereas the Lemurians, they're here to anchor in like the Sasquatch energy, the fairy energy, to remind us of our metaphysicality. I'm a Lemurian so much, like that's what I identify as a Persian and a Lemurian. I'm very much a divine mother, healer. I don't like conflict. I'm not a competitive person at all. I love crystals. I love nature. I love animals. Like those are the Lemurians. I love ocean animals. I love the ocean. I could stare at the ocean all day. I need to be by the water. Lemurians are very spiritual and mystical. And I mean, I'm not saying absolute. There are always exceptions, of course, to everything that I'm saying. But we need both because we need the balance of, it's not realistic, Lily, right? That we're going to move forward and not have any technology. So we're not trying to recreate another Lemuria. We are also not trying to recreate another Atlantis. What we're trying to do is people are coming back and we are creating boundaries and not boundaries, balance. We need the balance. And that's where we are headed. So we have all these beautiful, we call New Earth children, but trust me, there's nothing new about them. They are evolved, ascended beings that are the most ancient coming through now as our greatest mentors. And that's why I'm so passionate about helping them, because they are our greatest teachers. My daughter and all three of my children are so much smarter, intellectual, and so much more innovative and just wise than I could ever. I wish I could be as wise as they are. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm humble enough to admit that. And a lot of the children that I meet, they are our biggest, they're the biggest mentors that we could ever, there's no book or anything that can teach us as much as these children are if they're just given the opportunity to speak their mind when they get a little bit old enough and have the vocabulary. And that's where the teens and the youth are right now. They're struggling because nobody's giving them a platform, or they're being manipulated through TikTok videos and hypersexuality, and there's all these agendas to hijack their minds because they know, the dark players know that they are the future, so they are attacking them. And so that's why I am so protective over the youth, because we need them. They are the future. We need to focus our attention on, pay attention to them. No more latchkey children. Like, we need the parents to be involved. We need the community to be involved, because in both Lemuria and Atlantis, children were raised by the community, not just the parents. It was, everybody was involved. And the Native Americans are like that. Most indigenous cultures are like that to this day. And so you don't take ownership over your child. Like, everybody is involved. Everybody's an auntie, an uncle. And in Persian culture, everyone's auntie or uncle. It could be a friend, it could be anybody, but they're like, Auntie Lily is what they would call you. So that's a beautiful thing. We have lost a lot of that ancient wisdom. We haven't lost it. I'm sorry, I don't mean to say that. It has been blocked and inverted and kept from us through the indoctrination of our school systems. And I'm so sorry, because I've just went on a major tangent. So I don't even know where I was going with any of that.
No, that was fantastic, though. you were in the flow. It was all good information.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. I was thinking, if I did have a kid, like, I would want it to be in like a community like setting. It just sounds so hard, like raising a child kind of on like alone. You know what I mean? So that's good to hear, or interesting to hear, that's how Lemuria did it. That's how Atlantis did it. So we're kind of bringing back some of that wisdom, our soul wisdom in that aspect. Yeah, that's great. What else do you have anything else to add on that?
I was just reading through some of the comments.
Yeah, we can probably take some questions too. I want to add, so in Atlantis, there's like kind of this Atlantis priestess energy that's been kind of coming through for me recently too. I think I'm going to tap more into my Lemurian side coming soon, but Atlantis, there were positive factions incarnated into Atlantis that were trying to prevent the fall, I feel like. And I think that was my role, because I have had some past life memories of seeing the corruption popping up everywhere and trying to stop it. I remember one of them, I was incarnated with Tyler and Aaron, actually, and we got into big trouble because we saw this corruption happening, and we were trying to maneuver around it or kind of stop it, and then we got caught and got in trouble. And I believe there were different factions. Part of Atlantis, some of the Atlanteans left and joined the Lemurians.
Yes.
I believe. Have you seen anything like that?
Yeah. Oh yeah, and vice versa. So you're absolutely right about everything you just mentioned. And there are a lot of beautiful Atlanteans. So I don't mean to make it sound like everyone is repenting, because that's my squirrel brain. I went on one direction, but I need to circle back, because a lot of that's my multi-dimensional.
Like, hey, Sherri, that's not nice.
Yeah, like, no, there are beautiful Atlanteans, and Atlantis was thriving and absolutely magnificent for, like, I don't know, 20,000 years or something. I mean, I've seen that through a lot of my clients, where they were beautiful Atlantean oracles and healers, and they had these beautiful crystal caves, and it was so elaborate and so beautiful, and they had all these structures that Lemuria didn't have. It was more nature-based, and crystal caves in Lemuria, it was night and day different, and they had all of these structures, and they were very honorable people. So there are beautiful Atlanteans. So a lot of the Atlanteans that are moving to Florida right now are not just repenting. A lot of them are holding space of the beautiful energy of what Atlantis once was, and until the corruption occurred, which is where we are. We've been through the corruption, that we're going through the same thing. Right. But just like there are beautiful people here, there are a lot of not so beautiful people here. And so we are reintegrating a lot of that. And so a lot of Lemurians went to Atlantis to help the Atlanteans, because they forecasted what was going to happen, because there were time jumpers. So I've been in sessions where I've had people that literally went back in time had already lived through Lemuria, and were well into the future, went back in time into Atlantis to help to stop what was going to come. And they tried to tell people, and they were killed. I mean, I can't tell you how many clients that I have worked with that were killed in Atlantis, were jailed in Atlantis, imprisoned, starved to death, enslaved, taken to underground. I don't want to get dark right now, but taken into underground tunnels, cloned and fragmented. And I mean, I don't want to go down that dark path, but I've seen a lot in my sessions, and those people are healing the wounds of Atlantis. So some of the people here in Florida that are connected to Atlantis are actually here for soul retrieval, to heal the wounds of not only themselves and what happened to them and the pain they endured, but also to heal the ancestry of the Atlanteans as well. So, I mean, it's so hard to get it all out in one conversation when we could talk about each one of these topics for days. But there's a lot of beauty in what's happening right now. And there's a lot of overlap of Atlanteans in Lemuria and Atlanteans and future versions of us coming back in time. It's just, it makes your brain hurt a little bit, because I think our brains are not made to process everything. It's too much.
Yeah, that's fascinating, because my contact K, I had some recall. Actually, this was triggered from my second trip to Mount Shasta, where I spent a very extended amount of time in Mount Shasta after I left. And this is the integration period. Again, like I went there, I picked up all the codes, got super activated. And then once I came back, over the course of the next few weeks, few months, I started having all of this recall of an Atlantean lifetime, where I think I was in a royal family and stuff was getting bad. And actually, I was meeting with my current contact, Kay, who I was meeting with her through a portal. She was from a different time period, but she was like coming to help. So I think she's like that time traveler or time jumper that you were just speaking of. And it's just so trippy. It's incredible.
There are observer souls that I'm seeing a lot of observer souls in my sessions right now. Those souls have an advanced directive not to, like, their role is to kind of be in the background. They're hermit souls. They generally are just here to like holographically bring information back to their collective group in order for the guardian souls to make decisions on what to do, and the timeline jumpers to come back and figure out where they need to insert themselves to make the change. So there's a lot of observer souls on this planet that are, you have the negative versions of them, where the dark side have their observer souls. And I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about beautiful, multi-universal souls. Like, they generally are orbs of light, and then they come in here and they embody, they incarnate in a body, and they're kind of in the background. And they don't have a lot of friends, and they don't have, flamboyant lives, and they're just here to observe. They're like timekeepers and gatekeepers. They guard portals, but they're not conscious of it. And they're kind of just going through their life, going through the motions. But the whole time they're here, they are recording everything that they see. So there are millions of those all over the world. And there are also guardian souls that I'm learning more and more about, where guardian spirits are coming here, and they are like, the adults in the playground coming, and they're multi-universal as well. And they're coming here to make sure that things stay on track. And they have a big soul mission, and they are generally timeline jumpers. So if you're a guardian soul, you are a time traveler. You're going back, like, for example, Trump, time traveler, guardian soul. Like him or not like him, I don't care. That's not what I'm saying. But he's a time traveler. He's a disruptor. He's definitely not an observer, because observers are meant to just observe. But guardians are the ones that are the mentors, the innovators. They'll rock the boat. They are the bulldozers, like in all categories. They're meant to bring out disclosure. They have podcasts. They're public speakers. They're well known. They are bringers of change. So, like, I believe I'm a guardian soul of children, and I'm here to ensure that this new education gets off the ground. And I've dedicated my life to it, and I won't stop. And I'm not saying I'm the only one. There are many. So there are guardian souls, there are observer souls, there are those that are here to bring in divine energy, wisdom, ancient portals, activating. I mean, you name it. There's a million of different types of collectives.
That's fascinating. Oh, thank you so much, Omi. I appreciate this super chat. Thank you. There was just somebody. What were you going to say?
I was going to say we can answer George's question that just popped up after your donation. He said, do you think schools will exist in the future? So that's a loaded question. What do you mean by schools? So school is an anagram for loosh. So they created schools as looshing farms to siphon energy from the most purest souls. That's why children start school at the age of 5, because that is the period in which you integrate into your body. When you are born and up until about 5, you are the most multidimensional and you are not really fully grounded. You are kind of in and out. When you're around the ages between 5 and 7, you really start to anchor into your body and you become more human and you forget who you are, where you come from, and your light starts to dim a little bit because you are anchoring into the density of this third dimension. So that's why they start schools at that age, because that's when they start the indoctrination. So school is an anagram for loosh. It's an indoctrination camp. It's an assembly line. It's a factory. That's all it is to indoctrinate us in what they want us to know, so that later in life we follow the rules. We're not out of the box thinkers. We're not rebels, and we just do what we're told. So what I see in the future is our learning centers. I'm working at this too, because I still use the word school, but that's why I call it learning center, because I'm trying to use different vocabularies, because this is actually a place where children will thrive. It's conscious education. We don't have teachers, because people are afraid when you say the word teacher. It's like a police officer. Everyone's afraid when they see a police officer. Why are they so afraid? Well, that's a loaded question. But that's why we call them mentors. We want children to connect with their mentors so that they feel comfortable learning from them. And so what the style of education that I am creating, I believe, is the future. And it is going to look so different that over time, I believe this public school, how we know it today, will no longer exist. But I think it's going to take, it could take 30 to 50 years. It could take a couple of generations to get to the point where that is completely gone. But right now, what I feel my role is, and what I'm passing on to my children and their children, is the transition period. So we have to start somewhere and create and show everybody, look, this is what's possible. This is what we can do, where children can thrive and they're not indoctrinated and they're allowed to explore and develop their passions. Just like in Lemuria and Atlantis, no one was told to do a job. They'd helped you find your passion, and then they would help you develop it and follow it and carry it forward, right? They don't do that in the school system. Everyone has the same curriculum, the same classes. You get graded. You compete against each other, and it's very overwhelming, overstimulating, and it's not fair. It's not an environment made for them to thrive. And that's why so many children have anxiety and are labeled with something, because they're not fitting inside that box of what society is created as normal. So the future is, let's create better environments where children are outside with animals, with mentors, and kind of like leading the way and having a choice in what it is that they learn within boundaries. That's why we need mentors, to help make sure that they kind of stay on track and they're not getting into trouble, and those sorts of things. And then slowly over time, I think more people will discover that approach and want it, so that public schools will phase out, just like universities. I don't believe that we will have colleges. My son is 21. He's done 2 years at FAU. It's a great school. I'm not saying anything bad, but I'm like, why are you wasting your time? What are you going to do with that finance degree? Hundreds and thousands of kids are going to graduate at the same time as you with the same degree. Everyone's going to be looking for a job. Why don't you do something innovative that is outside of the box that no one else is doing? Because I'm going to tell you something. This is my conversation with him. 5 years from now, even right now, there are companies that say, I don't want your degree. because they want to train you in the way that is innovative to them, or is like their approach to whatever it is that their company is the foundational concepts of their company, and they want to train you. So our degrees are going to be meaningless. There's no reason to have universities in the future. So my Aramis initiative actually goes from the age of kindergarten-ish, if you want to label it that, around 5 years old, until all the way until children go into their 20s and start their career. So you bypass college and you go into apprenticeships and internships, and you go right into the workforce that is also going to look different. So it's really hard to explain to people what I'm seeing, because it's so far in the future that they can't grasp the concept of like what I'm saying, because it doesn't exist right now. So they don't understand how their child's going to get a job, or how can they get them into Harvard. And I'm like, that's the old school mindset. If you want your child to go to Harvard, then you better keep them in public school, because like I'm not grooming children to go to an Ivy League school, because that's not the point. So sorry, that's a long answer to a very short question, but I think let's just say that we're going to go through phases of change. And what we are seeing right now is no longer working, and we are going to phase out of that over time.
Yeah, no, that was fantastic. Really great points. And that's how it should be. Yeah, these old systems are starting to collapse. Somebody else had a good question, Fiona. So do you have any news on the New Earth high frequency children coming in? Any comment on this would be much appreciated. Is there anything we can do to help bring them in?
Okay, well, that's my specialty, so that's a great question.
Yeah, we can switch it over to the children talk now.
Yeah, I mean, I work about half with adults and help, because we have to help the adults too. We can't forget about the adults. So I work a lot with adults to help them heal, so that we can be present for the children, right? We need the adults to step up, but I work a lot with children. So yes, high frequency children are coming in phases. Every single year, higher frequencies of children are coming through, because the mothers, the bodies, the collective frequency is evolving, transitioning, transmuting. And then what's happening is we are bringing in higher frequency souls. So we've talked about 5D pregnancy, you and I, in the past. I even have a chapter in my book. A lot of us are preparing for pregnancies that we are kind of overlapping in other timelines. So there could be another version of me or you or somebody watching this that has pregnancy symptoms, but you're not actually pregnant, but in another timeline, you're birthing a child that is not meant for this timeline. Or you could be preparing for a child that's coming in the future, but there's an integration process. It took my daughter took me over a year to get pregnant with my daughter, because that's how long it took her body, her soul, to integrate with my body. And it was a hard pregnancy. So our bodies, the adults, the women, have to be at a certain frequency ourselves to be able to carry the high frequency of these ascended souls. So they're coming in waves. Just like Dolores Cannon talked about the first, second, third. I believed for a long time I was working with the fourth, but then I realized, I had an epiphany. I was like, wait a second, it's not just the fourth, it's the fifth, it's the sixth. Like they just keep coming in waves and waves. And it's really about where we are as a collective, what our bodies can withstand, and what we are ready for. Because I will tell you, some of these children are so evolved, these souls of these children are so evolved that they will not come in unless humanity has reached pivotal junction points. So the children come in phases of when they are equipped to handle that phase. So crystal children started coming in the early 2000s, and they came in as a wave of love to open the hearts of humanity. They're peacekeepers, they're easygoing, they're highly sensitive. They are the easiest, like, friends with everybody. They don't like conflict, and they just came to open our hearts. We needed that. We needed those children, those souls, to come through at that time. And then another wave of children came through that were like the innovators and the more galactic beings that were here to bring in new intelligence. Then we had the rainbow children, another wave of children come in that like my daughter, like the bulldozers, like the future leaders of the world that will take no for an answer, that are highly competitive and strong-willed, and they will fight you until you are like in tears, because they're preparing for the future, so that they don't have somebody telling them no when they know they're right. So they're the future leaders, and they don't back down. They are powerful warrior souls. And then we have waves coming in after. And so it's every wave comes in equipped with what humanity needs at the time, if that is making sense to everybody. So the waves that are coming in are more advanced than the last because we're ready. So I have a really unique job because I get to see and speak with these souls coming through. And that's my gauge of how our ascension is going. Like everybody has their way of tuning into the collective awakening process. Where are we? How far are we? Are we going, are we going in the right direction? Are we evolving? And my tuning fork is the communication that I have with these high frequency children, because a lot of them say, I wouldn't come in if we weren't ready yet. And the fact that they keep coming in means that we're ready for the next wave. Does that make sense? So like they wouldn't be coming in if they wouldn't continue to be coming in if we hadn't reached the next marker point. So to answer her question, what we can do to help bring them in is to play our role. Our role, everybody has a role. Everybody has a responsibility. And that is to be a good person, to forgive, to release judgment, to surrender, to see through the illusion, take the time to go within, be the best version of yourself that you can possibly be, which takes it's an evolution. Like I'm not the best version of myself that I could possibly be, but I will tell you something, I am the best possible version of myself every single day that I can be. And then the next day I try to continue that, and I evolve over time. So if everybody did that and we focused on co-creating the world that we want to see, instead of harping on the world that we hate and being so angry and hating each other for it and competing, like I have this information and I communicate with this galactic group and you can't, like that's all you're doing is feeding the machine. And so we have to step out of that, go within, evolve ourselves, and that's how we help the children come in, because then we grow and we evolve as a collective, the frequency changes, and then even more evolved children can come through, because now we open up the pathways for even higher frequency.
Uh-oh, that was weird. Did Sherri just leave? Okay, we'll give it a second. Oh, there you are.
Uh-oh.
You're good. Can you hear me?
Did you guys, I must have said something important because it cut me off.
Yeah, you were.
I have no idea when I stopped being heard, but I was obviously saying something important. But somebody
you were talking about basically being the best version of yourself that you can be each day, and like this is what we have to do. You know, you're on a roll. Yeah.
And I want to answer someone's question because I want to be mindful of the time. I don't know how much time you have, Lily, but somebody asked an important question, and I want to address this because I've talked about this in many books and many podcasts and in probably every conference I've ever done. She said something about Tibetans are dyslexic. Could learning disorders be a sign of a starseed? Absolutely. So the biggest misconception in our reality right now is that the children that are labeled, there's something wrong with them. And that's absolutely not true. The children are being labeled because they are the out of the box thinkers. They are high frequency. They are not like the previous generations on purpose. So they come in with a higher intelligence, a higher frequency, which is why they're labeled. So if they're dyslexic, for example, they're just trying to learn. They have to almost it's like, imagine having a triple master's degree and then spending a year in kindergarten. Like they're trying to figure out, like, how do I do this? Like, this doesn't make sense to me. I'm way too evolved for this. So they have to dumb themselves down a little bit. And our numbers, our algorithms, our language doesn't actually make sense to them because they know it's wrong, because everything in our reality is inverted. So everything that we learn in school, the way we do our math, the way we basically do everything is completely wrong. So the reason these kids are dyslexic is because they're like, hello, guys, you're doing all of this wrong. And my brain is telling me something different. And so they're they're misdiagnosed, and they're hyperactive because they're multidimensional. They're autistic because they're not resonating with this density, with these bodies. They don't want to look in your eyes because they see everything. They see through you. They see the demons. They see your aura. It's overwhelming. They don't want to, the Asperger children, the reason they were labeled with that, which they don't use that term anymore, was because they were the highly intellectual starseeds that were, a lot of them were from Alpha Centauri. A lot of them were from Sirius B and very evolved planets, some of them Arcturian. And they're so smart that they're like geniuses, and their brains work a certain way. And so they need routine and structure because this world is so unsettling to them and so chaotic that they have to focus. They have tunnel vision. So they need routine and structure to thrive. And so that's why they're so like, I don't want to play with toys. I want to be with the adults. And they're awkward. So all of the labels that we are experiencing right now are a result of these starseed children coming in that are different than previous generations. And they're just trying to show us that there's a better way. They just are different than what we would consider normal, but we're not normal. We have been suppressed and programmed, and we have limiting beliefs, and we have dis-ease, and we forgot who we are. And they're just trying to remind us, it's crazy.
Yeah. And the way they teach is boring. Yeah, they have to learn how to be human.
Exactly. Yeah, they're bored.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Light body babies. Somebody asked a question I was trying to find. Okay, well, somebody asked this question. What about all the children being born from parents who are low frequency, poor diet, negative lifestyles? Are these special kids being born to all kinds of parents? What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Sorry. Excuse me. Okay, there's not one answer for this. So it's a couple things. Number one, there are children that volunteer because let's say they're in the soul network of their parents who have been in this entrapment system. They have been in the enslavement system for, many, many lifetimes. So they are in negative loop cycles of addiction, low self-worth, enslavement, ego, whatever the thing may be. They are very heavily programmed. So let's say their Pleiadian soul network or Andromedan soul network or whomever says, I'll volunteer and I'm going to come in and I'm going to be your child. Just like I told you, the children are our biggest activators, our biggest teachers. They come in to these parents that are of low frequency, who have poor diet, negative lifestyles, because their intention is to activate and awaken them. And they're here to help. They're volunteering to activate and awaken their parents and show them a better way. Now, does this work every single time? Absolutely not. There are children all over the world that are neglected and abused, and it's not a fail-safe plan. But sometimes what I've been told from the children in these sessions is it's generational. So like one will agree to come in as the child, and then there's another generation that's going to come that will be that child's child, and then over time there will be change. But it's going to take time. It takes generations to change. So we have volunteer souls that come in to slowly cut off the negative loop cycles, to clear the ancestral healing and trauma, and to be the cycle breakers. We are the cycle breakers. I am breaking a vicious cycle of what I grew up in. I'm not going to go into that because it's personal. And I did write about it in my book, but I don't share everything. But the point is, I am the way I am today because I said I want to do better. I want to be better. And I broke the cycle of abuse. And I am the best mother I could ever be. And I take pride in that. And so I am exact opposite of how I was raised. So I'm a cycle breaker. And now my children have a completely different life than I had. And so that's one reason, or that's one thing that can happen. And then, of course, there are souls that come into parents and families who are already activated and awakened, and they're just a catalyst to keep it going, keep the train going, and bring in more ascended beings, because like you're already where you need to be. You're already done the healing. So let's say you were to have a child right now, your child would be light years ahead of some others that are coming into darker families, because they're not going to struggle the way the other child is, because they're choosing to come in through you and you've already done a lot of the work. So now they're going to take that and escalate it and make it help humanity grow exponentially fast. Do you see the difference?
Yeah, that's fascinating.
There's a lot of different ways to explain that.
Well, that's a great point. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think I can think of two things right off the top of my head that I'm a big cycle breaker for in my family. So that makes perfect sense. Somebody commented, Mary had to prepare for a long time for Jesus to come in. Yeah, the book Grandmother Anna, I've just read part of it, but it's about Jesus's grandmother. She even had to prepare for a while for Mary to come in. And then Mary prepared for Jesus to come in. That's really fascinating.
And sometimes we sign up for generations, so we don't realize that, like, in some other time and space, we got together and we said, okay, we're all going to come in, and I'm going to be the grandmother and the great grandmother and then the mother and the child. And it's like generational planning. So I believe that this ascension has been, because we've never seen this before. So a lot of what's occurring, it has been planned out for a very long time, and it's generational. It's taken generations, for us to get to where we are. And I think that's why my daughter, before she was born, she wanted to remind me, hey, hello, don't forget, like, we have an agreement together, and I'm coming in for a very specific mission, and I need you to consciously be aware of it and have it at the forefront of your mind, so you don't forget that when I come in, your life is going to change. And man, did my life change. But maybe I needed to have that remembrance, because who knows, if I didn't have that, maybe I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now. I don't know the answer to that, but they definitely come in when we're ready for it. It's divine planning. It's divine intervention.
Yeah, that's absolutely beautiful. Okay, we'll take this one more question and then we'll start to wrap it up. This is a good question that just came in. As a teacher in the public school system, how can I better help my students whom are labeled ADD, autistic, etc.? I feel helpless in the classroom.
This is it breaks my heart, because I get this question all the time. And I'm going to tell you, I admire and respect greatly teachers in the public school system, because most of them get into it because they want to help children. They definitely don't go in there because they want to make a lot of money. And they don't do it for quality of life. It's a very hard job. But I do have a lot of clients that are teachers that are having a real big problem, because they cannot help these children in the way they believe that they should be able to. And so I'm going to tell you something. There isn't a lot you can do on a grand scale, because part of what's happening right now is a breaking down of a paradigm. We need this problem to be front and center. We need parents to stand up for their children and say they deserve better. We need teachers to stand up and say this is not working, because school is a business. It's all about money exchange and indoctrination. It's not pursuit of knowledge at all. It's indoctrination. No one is actually learning anything. So teachers, they have to stand up, and this is the juncture that we're at right now. So of course, on a smaller scale, what you can do is be the best version of yourself with them. Be patient, be loving, be compassionate, be kind and be part of the change in the capacity that you can. But the problem is, in most public schools, you're limited in resources, time, and what you can do. So the only thing you can do is be a love bubble and tell them every day that you're proud of them, and it's okay. And I understand why you can't sit still, and they shouldn't be forced to sit still. That's the thing. Like, everything is wrong with how these children are forced in school to be in prison and sit still and not be outside, and it's all wrong. And so we are in the precipice of change right now. So advocate for change, advocate for Aramis centers to be open everywhere. I mean, this is what we're trying to do, so that people like you can help create environments where children can thrive. Because I'm telling you, the public schools, when it comes down to it, there's little that they're willing to do to change, and little resources they're willing to put towards it, because all the money is being funneled in to standardized testing so that they can get more money for their schools, and the money is going in the wrong places.
Mm-hmm.
This is a hard question to answer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Well, that's why the work that you're doing with and other people are doing with the dreaming and envisioning and helping to create these new systems is going to be so pivotal. So thank you for your question, Gab. And welcome, Tyler.
Hey.
How do we donate to Sherri?
Yeah, well, thank you. And thank you to Victor. He's he's amazing. He's in there putting my website and all sorts of things in the chat. So the donation link, I think, is in your description. It's on my website. It's also on the Aramis website. And we will have it at the virtual event on Friday as well. But it's on all the websites. You can find it really easily. It just says donate. Thanks, Victor. And thanks for asking. I'm going to, my request to everybody watching this tonight in the most humble way I can, because it's really hard for me to ask for help. I am a Taurus. I am a bull. I am stubborn as an ox. It's really hard for me to ask for help because I'm a very independent person, but it's not just about money. I mean, we need money, of course. But if everybody watching this can share and join in the vision, I believe that we have the power to co-create what it is that I am trying to manifest through our intention, through visualization, through just saying, we deserve this. I demand this. The children need this. And you help me to co-create, visualize these centers everywhere. And the money will come. I believe that I'm getting chills. Like, we need the money. Yes, of course, the donations are important. But I believe that if we all put our co-creative hats on and we say that this is what we need for our children to thrive, and we accept nothing less, and we project that out into the universe, this is how we get it. This is why I'm out here talking about it, because I'm not just trying to help children in Florida. This is just like the one spot we're starting, but we will open one in every single state and in hopefully multiple cities in every state, and then worldwide. This is an initiative. This is a movement. So yes, money is important, but more important than money is the vision. And I need people to believe in it and to help me co-create. Like, honestly and truly, that's what I need. Please.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, everybody, let's set our intentions together. Let's just do a fun little exercise real quick. Just everybody close your eyes for a second. I mean, I do this all the time with my meditations, and it really does. It helps bring that energy. And let's just visualize light spreading around the planet, love, and just see children happy, free, and these learning centers popping up all over the country. Let's see Sherri with the funding that she needs to open up her first location in Florida, and then that spreads to other states. And just feel that love and that happiness. Like children laughing, learning, playing with animals, horses. Because I think Sherri wants to have horses on the property, which would be fantastic. So just visualize that all over the country and then all over the world. Dissolving the dark nuts of the indoctrination system. Because you can kind of see those dark clouds, just totally dissolve that with golden light. A bright, beautiful future. And then we anchor that in. That is our intention. And so it is.
And so it is.
Beautiful. We are the most potent manifestors. That's why there is such a, that's why everybody wants our attention.
Yeah. right?
Oh, that was good.
Oh, thank you, Lily. I really felt that in my soul. And like, that's what I need. Like, I understand people don't have the money and everybody is struggling. And I said, that's okay. You can support me in a bigger way by breaking the system and co-creating this, like we can co-create this if we all do it together. And that's what I need more than anything. Of course I need money, but like that's even more powerful. I really believe.
Yeah. Well, and then once you send out that vibration, that resonance, things start popping up. Like time is so fluid. The timelines can shift. We can manifest. I know that sounds like super woo and far away, but really like once you embody and kind of project that frequency out, things start popping up to align with that vision. It's quite incredible. And with time speeding up, I think it's happening even more. Sherri, would you like to share where people can find you? I know I've got all the links in the video description too, but do you want to share any of your offerings? And I know you do. You have a Patreon now where you do monthly meetings for people who might need a little bit more coaching or mentoring on some of this, or Q&As and things like that.
Yeah, and actually, thanks to you, you kind of inspired me to do that, inviting me on your Patreon channel. Yeah, so Sherri Divband is my website. I do soul readings, basically full time until the school opens, and then, see, I said it, the learning center. When it opens, I won't be doing that anymore. I will focus all of my attention on that. So right now, I'm still doing soul readings, animal communication sessions, working with children, and coaching adults. Tyler, I just want to put a shout out. I don't know if he's still watching, but he has put a beautiful commercial together for our Aramis Learning Center, and we are going to premiere it on Friday night. So I encourage everyone watching to come watch our virtual event. Hopefully we will be live streaming on a bunch of channels so we can have a lot more viewers. So hopefully Lily and Tyler and a lot of others will be live streaming as well. So we'll have a bigger audience. But we will premiere for the first time the commercial that he's worked so hard on to put together for me. And it will serve to be basically our first commercial. So that's exciting this Friday. We are also hosting a really big charity event. If anyone is local in Florida, to South Florida in Palm Beach, West Palm Beach at the Belvedere on May 16th of this year, I'm hosting a huge charity event in person. Carl Remy, a comedian, will be there. We have an aerial hoopist. I'm going to be giving a big speech. We have silent auction items that are incredible. The donations that I've received from my dearest friends, anywhere from diamond necklaces to, it's just, I can't even tell you. It's so beautiful what people have donated to me. Then we have smaller raffle prizes. It's going to be such an amazing, fun evening. So if you're local and you can come, please spread the word. Come on May 16th, West Palm Beach. That's also on my website. And last thing I want to say, I have a new book coming out. Not an adult book. I promised my children I'd take a break from books for a while because it takes too much of my time. But I have a new children's book coming out any day now. It's called Anxiety is Not the Boss of Me. So it's the 11th book in our children's book series called Divinely Guided Children. So I will announce that very soon, like literally any day we will be publishing that. And I'm very excited because anxiety is such a big issue for children right now. And this book is going to help them understand what's going on and give them some tools to navigate through that. So I'm really excited about it.
Awesome. How do you just look up on Amazon Divinely Guided Children, or how do you find
Well, I have an author profile on Amazon. So if you look up my name on Amazon, you'll see I have 5 adult books and then 10 children's books. And then this will be the 11th. So it'll all come up.
Okay, cool. I do have a couple of your books in the video description. So which Victor's sharing right there, but if anybody wants to click those links and then you can click on
Victor, you're on fire. I'm going to hire you as like my virtual assistant. Thank you.
Victor's great. No, he's fantastic. And again, there's the donate link if you guys would like to donate. And I will try to figure out how to stream that on my channel Friday as well. Is that this Friday or next Friday?
This Friday. It's in a couple days.
Oh my God. Okay. All right. We'll see you guys on Friday.
Don't forget, Lily.
No, I won't. I just, that thing we were talking about in the beginning where your memory's not that great.
Yeah, no, I forgot to pick up my son from school because I was in another world. So like, I get you.
No, that's why I write everything down. So it's in my planner. All right, everybody. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you everybody for watching and your beautiful comments, and hope to see you guys on Friday.
Yep. And please give this video a like, drop your comments, and hope to see you guys on Friday. Take care. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.
And thank you, Sherri.
Thank you.
Okay, we should